Hey all you cool cats and kittens, it's Brent Pittaway here from Sunday Night Live, together with Abel.
And welcome to the third edition of Sunday Night Live.
Now today we have something special for you to kick us off, is that last week we had a challenge from Radiance that was really great, but this week we've got a challenge, the challenge was accepted by Fusion. That's what happened.
Yes, okay, we gaan begin.
Dat was goed, dat was goed.
Ja.
Cool. Hey all you cool cats and kittens, it's Brent Pittaway here from Sunday Night Live. I'm together here with Abel.
Welcome to the third edition of Sunday Night Live.
And last week we got a challenge from Radiance, and there's a ministry in our church that picked up this challenge called Fusion.
Yes, and if you're wondering what Fusion is, if you are maybe a little bit confused about Fusion, they are our teens ministry. So Brent, tell us a bit about them.
So, as you heard, they're our teen ministry, and they're probably the coolest ministry in our church.
Yes.
I got your back, Fusion. But check out this video of their response to Radiance's challenge.
Thank you, Fusion, for taking up the challenge.
Hi there, Fusion. Missing you guys. Hope to see you soon.
He's so good. I'm so proud of him.
There. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to the Good Question Show where we've got a very exciting guest for you. And then after that, as usual, time for testimony and then worship.
So let's go to the Good Question Show. There we go.
I think I need some more coffee.
Yeah. Hey, intern, Franco, come here.
Oor jy daai vorige koppie het grond geproe. Dit was regtig sleg.
It wasn't good. This time, just make sure that there's no rusks at the bottom of our coffee.
Ja, ek het nie beskuit geëet nie. Hoekom is daar? Have you ever wondered whether you can follow and live out your passions and desires and still please God at the same time?
That's a good question. Let's talk about that. Hello and welcome to the Good Question Show.
So to help us this week with the good question that we will be discussing, we have invited a very special guest, a little bit famous, I might add, and her name is Loane van Sandwyk.
Hello there, friends.
Hello,
So
Loane.
good to have you with us.
Amazing.
A little bit of a celebrity. So Loane is an actress, and she does like plays. My wife and I, we've gone and seen one of your plays. Really cool, and she's acted on the screen also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in that series called Hotel. Hotel. You have to say it in Afrikaans or else it doesn't count. Hotel. And it's in season 4, episode 13, right?
Literally like 10 seconds.
Yeah, she
so
features
don't
for a
blink
full 10
if you
seconds.
see me.
Best 10 seconds of that
Best 10
show.
seconds of that whole series that I've watched.
Thank
really
you,
great.
guys.
And Loane also writes little songs, and basically you're a comedian. You're an actress, but also / comedian. And then also you use your talents to also honor God. We've seen that, how you minister actually in your shows. But it's a real honor for us to have you on the show here today.
Guys, the honor is mine. I was so excited. I wrote you a little song.
What? For us?
Just
That's
for you.
cool.
Take her mic, she's going to have to sing us a
Nice.
song.
Okay, let's do this.
This is going to be good. It's going to
Nice.
be real good.
This is the Good Question Show. To tell me what I want to know. The Good Question Show, where wisdom will flow. We've got Brent, the funny guy, Abel, the cool guy. Let's give it a go.
Oh, that's
Whoa.
beautiful. That is so good.
Mind blown.
Thank
That
you,
was
guys.
excellent. I really enjoy the songs that you do.
I think that song was so good. This should be our theme song now. I think
Definitely.
This is our theme song.
The Good Question Show has
gotta
got
be.
a theme song. And get this, before we go on, we've prepared a little game that we're going to play in a moment. But before we do that, we know that you write songs, and recently you asked people to send in comments, and you took a whole bunch of words and you picked 3 words, and you are busy writing a song. So I want to know, would you be willing to do a song for us?
Definitely. It would be lovely.
Yes. Okay, that's good. So, viewers, she is going to write a song for us. So, we want to ask you to, on the comments section right now, just put random words. The funniest words you know in English, just funny words, random words. Put them in the comments section. We're going to take all of those words. We're going to give it to Loane. She's going to pick 3 words and she's going to write us a song.
Velociraptor is one of them.
And then we'll
Try not to make it too difficult, people.
no,
Come
make
on.
it very different or funny, random.
You're
Random.
funny. That's
It's going to
fine.
be good. Okay. Now, before we get to our serious question, just because we have an actress
Slash comedian.
slash comedian with us,
Oh my.
we decided we need to use this opportunity. So we're going to play a little game called The Question Show.
Would you like to play a game?
Yes. Don't say it like that. That's just creepy. But we're going to play The Question Show, a question game, and Aiden is going to join us. How the game works, the scenario is that we can, or the question, the game works that we can only ask each other questions. So we're going to have a conversation with one another by only asking questions. If you can't think of a question, you fall out, someone else comes in, and then the person that can keep the conversation going for the longest is a champ. And the scenario is sitting in church. So we're going to pretend like you are sitting in church, or not pretend, just like you usually sit in church and talk to the person next to you.
Especially when Abel's preaching.
Yes, yeah, I see that when
You know it.
the service is running. That is where this conversation is taking place. Okay, Aiden, join us.
Let's do it.
Wait, why are we here?
Didn't we get on the wrong bus?
Weren't you the one driving?
The bus?
What smells?
I thought you knew. Yeah.
That was good.
What did I miss?
I don't know. What are you doing?
Do you think he knows his fly is open?
Can't you see? Okay.
I wonder if he really knows the scriptures.
It's not a question.
Oh no, damn it.
I am the queen.
How much do you usually tip with one of these services?
Can't we keep these?
Where do I put my envelope in?
I don't know.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Do you know Helen?
Do you have plans for after this?
Are you suggesting something?
Can't you see
What are we doing here?
I thought you knew.
Aren't they supposed to have wine at this place?
I thought.
Shouldn't we get bread with this wine?
Yes.
Don't you think he's attractive?
Do you have plans for after this?
Are you implying something?
What if I am?
I'd like that. Damn it.
Hey, that was fun.
That was fantastic.
Well done.
Yo. Thank you so much.
Good game, good game.
It was a good game.
Good game, Aiden. Good game.
Aiden, well
Good game,
done. Well
Luane.
done.
Feels it's not tennis match. It feels like after a tennis match.
Everybody's winners. Everybody's winners.
That's good. Okay, so now it's time for our good question for today. And just remember, you are welcome to send us any good question or any fun question that you'd love for us to discuss on the show. Just put it in the comments below. So the question we're looking at today is, can I follow my passions and my desires in life while still serving God at the same time? Can I follow my passions and follow God at the same time?
Yeah, I think this is a very juicy discussion because
Yes.
a lot of people would think that, you know what, there's these two conflicting worlds when it comes to our passions and to serve God in a way, to bring Him glory. And I think this is a very big challenge because some people would see the two extremes. You'll see maybe living out your passion would be the things that I really enjoy doing, that I want to do, the stuff that makes me come alive. But then on the other side, actually serving God and thinking that if we have to do that, I have to kind of like be the slave and try and do things right and trying to give my life, let's say, for the gospel and work. Suffer hard.
Yeah.
And I think just to find the balance between these two would be the question we can ask today.
Yeah, I think many Christians see it as either I need to serve God and suffer and give up everything that is good and nice in the world, or I'm going to serve or follow my own passions. Have you ever experienced that conflict yourself? And also, how did you decide to do what you are doing now?
So how it all started, I loved performing since I was little, did little concertjes and whatnot. I remember I have this photo, it's so embarrassing. The one day, I don't know, I decided I wanted to be a waiter. Then I like dressed myself all in white with like a headband, and then I was running in the house with my thing. Can I take your order, ma'am? But anyway, so that was like since I was a very small child. And then one time, it was actually in Doxa, but I think it was still the Kruiskerk or Fountainhead, I'm not even sure. But then the sermon was about gifts, and he said, you should think like, what makes you come alive? And then the Lord really spoke to me. And I just realized like when I'm on stage and the people are laughing, like, oh, it's amazing. It's like a heavenly moment for me.
You like making people laugh.
Yeah, and then I realized that I should go and study drama, and it was very tough being a Christian and studying drama because it's an ungodly environment. Not everyone, but yes, I just learned that sometimes you need to go through stuff, whether it's studying or going through a hard time, and then you gather tools that you can use later. So I had to go through that time and gather all the tools, and now I can use them to glorify God. And in my shows, I can write about Him, He can be present, and that was not things that was a reality when I studied, and it's so lovely. So you can definitely combine your passion and honoring God, because He gave me talents, He gave you, He gives us all talents. And if we do it for Him, then we are honoring Him. So I'm not necessarily singing in the church band or contributing in my church, but Jesus, He died on the cross so that we became the church because He is in us. So whether we are here or outside, we are the church. So if I perform at a festival, which is not a Christian festival, I can still do my show and proclaim the gospel, and the audience can experience the Lord. They will maybe never go to church, but maybe that one time they can sit in the audience. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. And they can experience the Holy Spirit, and it can change them. The Lord can do anything. Even though I don't say something, they can experience Him. So it's not me. It's just me being there and He being in me and them experiencing Him. So that's always my prayer before I start, that they would experience the Holy Spirit, because He breaks the chains, He changes us. Even if the shows, like I said, even if I don't say the right words, He can do anything. He spoke through a donkey. He doesn't need me. But I come to that place, and then He can make that a church. So that's really my experience. It's not necessarily the right one, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, and I think what I like what you say there. You have to do what makes you come alive, or that's where you figure out also what your passions are. And I get what you're saying is that these aren't two conflicting things. Your passions were actually given to you by God, and so we are actually honoring God when we pursue those passions. And that's actually honoring God because He put them there in us. And I think even just my picture of God is that He is a loving Father that has created us. So if I think maybe about my two boys, the times when my wife and I enjoy our boys the most is when they are 100% themselves, when they enjoy themselves, when they are having fun and sort of, being passionate. That's when we enjoy them the most. And I think that's the same thing for God, is when He sees you just being yourself 100% and actually following some of those passions, He's also smiling over your life because you are being who He made you to be. So these two things aren't conflicting actually one another. They're both made by God. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I could add, I think it's just this picture of God created me as me, and you as you, and you as you. And I think this whole picture that we can see, this thing of God created Brent as Brent, and if I try and be Abel, it's kind of like God's like, listen, I didn't create you for that. I created you for something more. And I think that is, it sounds very, very nice now, like you be you,
You be you,
be the best you can be,
Yeah.
You do you. But it's actually this thing of like, there's truth in that. God created you to be you. Don't try and fake and be someone else. Be the person God created you to be. And I think that when you start doing that, you start living out that passion, which is really cool.
And it's difficult in the age we are in, like with social media, in our face the whole time. You see people being so happy and you're like, I'm not happy. I need to do that to be happy. And, they get 100 likes. I want 100 likes. And the devil comes and says, no, you're not good enough. You should be like that. You should be like that.
Everything is measured so that you can compare.
Yeah.
It's amount of likes, amount of views. So we are in this comparison.
And it's so fake. Like the one time I remember, I have this friend and her Instagram looks amazing. Her stories is like, whoa, she's having the best time. And then I visited her and she was like, it's not going well with me. And I was like, you're joking. So a lot of times that is so fake. And we think, I'm not making it. I should be like this or like that. So just being yourself and knowing who God made me to be, our gifts are not the same. So I should just look up,
Yeah.
like a sunflower, and just be in connection with Him. Okay, what do you want me to do? Okay, then we look. If we look like this the whole time, we miss our direction.
Yeah. And what would you guys say about just this? I suppose what we are saying, like you said, it can sound like a cliche, just you be you. No one could be you like you. And that is 100% true. But I think there is a bit of an extreme in this conversation. So on the one extreme, it is to think that you just have to suffer. And when you forget that God actually made you with the passions and desires, and in that you can actually find your calling. But then on the other extreme, and is the typical sort of speech that says, YOLO, or it's like it's all about you, and just follow your passions and your dreams, where it actually becomes a thing where it's only about you, and where your passions and desires. So here's the question: when does your passions and desires actually get divorced or separated from God's calling and actually serving God? Because otherwise a person can just do whatever they want, but it becomes about us.
I think when you focus on yourself and your achievements, which is from this world and not from God, then we must focus. Like one time, I'm just going to be transparent here. I was in a show and I was busy doing a song on the accordion. And the people usually love the accordion. I also love it.
What's an accordion?
It's like a trekklavier.
That thing that does this.
Okay.
And I was busy and the people were looking at me. And I remember I thought, yeah, they're impressed by me, ne? And it was a prideful thought. And immediately the Lord made me lose my place in the song. I was like trying to make it like comical and like, where's the freaking note? And the people were just sitting like that. They weren't even laughing. And I was so thankful that it happened, because so quickly I'm busy with it, doing a show for His glory. And my flesh like took over. And I was like, oh my God, that could never happen again. But I was so glad that I was all humiliated. Not really, but in a sense.
Humbled.
Yeah, humbled. I'm so thankful. And you're also to focus on other people and their gifts as well. Like another short story, I did an audition for a movie and I really, really wanted to be in that movie. So I did the audition and I'm feeling great and I never heard anything back. And then obviously another girl was cast in that role and I was like, yeah, you do you, girl. And the one day my friend, I don't know why, I haven't even asked her, she took a picture of the front page of a magazine. That girl was on the magazine and there's the article and I was like, oh, why is she sending it to me? I want nothing to do with this girl. And I was like, whatever. And I read it. And in the article, so she got the role I wanted and she was like, it was such a great gift from God and she really prayed for open doors. And I was so, I'm such a bad person. And yeah, I was just so convicted. So I was focused on, I want to do this, I want to be there, but was I honoring God in that? And who am I to say, no, He can't give the gift to you, I want that gift, it's mine. So quickly the flesh takes over and then we miss it. So just to stay connected with Him and to seek the kingdom first, that is my motto. And I try to remember that every day, just to seek the kingdom first and then all the other things.
That's Matthew 6, verse 33. Seek first the kingdom of God and He will give you the desires of your heart.
And when I seek Him, hopefully my desires will become His desires.
Yes, yeah, because as soon as you start seeking God, actually your desire starts changing, and it becomes aligned with who He is because you are seeking Him, and then He never refrains from giving Himself to us, and because He is our desire, and He always gives Himself to us. But I think this is actually just the issue of lordship.
Yes,
I think
definitely.
what we actually basically said earlier is that your passions and desires are actually God's passions and desires that He's put in you. And therefore we can go for it. At the same time, never forget that those passions and desires are not yours.
Yeah.
They belong to God because you belong to God. And so I think that's the thing. If you believe that you belong to God and He's Lord over your life, it means He's still Lord over your passions and desires. And I think that's where the balance needs to be struck, is that you can be yourself as long as you know that you are submitted under God. Otherwise, it becomes your story.
Your story. And I think that's a major issue I think a bunch of younger people have, is this thing of like, I wanted to search this desire or fill this passion, but you don't submit it, you don't give it to God, you don't bring it under His lordship. And I think that's where we miss out on life, because if you do it that way, then your life, who you are, is built around this passion and not around who God is in your life. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of miss the point. But if my life is built around who God is, and the passion comes to fulfill or kind of fill in the spaces, then whenever the passion falls, whenever you don't get the movie, the movie you wanted to be in, the part you wanted, or you mess up on stage, those things don't matter at the end, because your identity, who you are, is built into who Christ is. And I think if you look at these two things, passion and pleasing God, they actually work together so well, if you look at them.
And also just to remember that He can take your gift away at any moment. It's not mine to have. I'm borrowing it. Lending, I can never remember lending, borrowing. Anyway, I'm lending and borrowing it from Him. But in an instant, He can take my voice away. I struggled with my voice a while ago. And I just had to come to that point again. Lord, if You take this away, if I can never sing again, if I can never perform again, it's fine. Sure. That's not who I am. Yeah. I'm not an actress, I'm a person. I'm a lover of Jesus. Yeah. I make mistakes. That's who I am. Or they're a doctor. No, they're a person. Yeah. So just that shouldn't label us as well. Because if it's taken away, who are you? Are you still happy? Are you still praising the Lord? Like when Job lost everything, the first words he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will go. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So his identity was not in his 10 children, all his camels and his sheep and whatever. He knew where his identity was.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think we can maybe end off with that. I think that's so important. What you're saying is that your passions and your desires, even though God has given them to you, that is secondary to actually submitting under God. There's the lordship element first, because, like you say, if your passions and desires is your identity, the thing that gives you joy in life. If you are not successful, then you will always be devastated and disappointed. But if God is your identity and you see that as a gift from Him, whether you come first or third or fifth or you get the role or not, that doesn't devastate you because you know who you are. Though even those opportunities are in His hands.
No, that won't fulfill me. Even though I thought, oh, movie poster me. If it would have happened, I would still be unfulfilled.
Yes.
So that's very true.
And like there's good editing software now, so you can just make your own movie poster. And then you can hang it in your room and tell people you've been on a very, very famous...
It's going to do a one-woman movie. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I don't see why not. Great. Yeah. Thank you, Loane. That was really great.
Thank you, guys.
It's really good having you
It was
with us.
lovely putting on makeup again. I never get the chance to do that anymore.
For us as well. It's been really great just putting on makeup again.
Because the mask, I can't put lipstick on, man. So this is fabulous.
Yeah, you're enjoying it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't put on lipstick also in like 5 months.
Yeah, man, it's nice,
Okay.
no?
like 5 months.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, but thanks so much. And thank you for the song.
Oh, it's a pleasure, guys.
We are going to make that song our theme song for the
Definitely.
Good Question Show.
It's got to be.
We have to make it the intro for,
too good.
for next week, episode 4,
Yeah.
featuring Loane. We'll put you in the credits there.
We'll put you in the credits.
Yeah.
Tell me what I want to know.
That's very good, yeah. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week for episode 4 on The Good Question Show. Remember to like and subscribe, very important. And if you want to follow Loane, you can find her on social media. Which one's the best? Insta?
Instagram?
I don't
Insta?
know.
TikTok?
Not
there
yet. Not yet.
Okay, we're getting there.
Instagram and
Find it there.
Facebook, YouTube.
Have a great week.
Have a fantastic week.
Bye. Thanks for
Thank-
stopping by.
Yeah.
Hi guys, hope you're all doing well, and this is such an honor for me to share my story with you guys. So I'm gonna quickly just go back and just give you a background. So when I was in grade 9, I was in a really religious church, and I didn't really felt like anything is happening there. I didn't experience the relationship I wanted with God, and I didn't feel good enough until my friend Clement and Nandi, they started inviting me to church and bringing me to church, and I got invited and got part of this Doxa family, and I was really just so happy here, and I really felt like I'm not good enough, but luckily we're with a perfect God that's going to help me do the right things and make me worthy to worship Him and praise Him, and that was such a good thing. But I did not realize until I was in grade 10 that there's actually calling over my life. At the Global Leadership for Youth, Gustav actually told me he sees me going into ministry. And this was such a cool moment for me, because then I started praying about this, and then God gave me word that I have to go become a pastor. And as soon as I realized that, I was so excited. I told my dad, and my dad told me he knew this is what I'm going to do. When I was small, he just didn't want to tell me. He wanted me to figure this out on my own. And I'm so glad I did that. And now I really know there's a calling over my life, a life that's going to be full of fulfillment, full of God's grace and love. And this is such a cool picture for me, because then I realized, even though I grew up in a Christian home, and even though I did all the good religion stuff, it didn't mean that I had a relationship with God and I was really truly saved by God. And as soon as I started doing this and started getting part of this family and surrounding myself by real, true Christians that has a good relationship, has a good influence on me, I started realizing that this is my purpose in life, and this is my testimony of how I grew up and starting finding out who God really is.
The song that I chose for tonight was specifically because in this time it is very easy for us to start focusing on ourselves and to think about what we need, what we don't have, the things that we are missing right now that we just want to get back to. And actually what God is asking of us right now is to be quiet, to become still before Him, to be on our knees and recognize that this might be the perfect time to search our hearts and ask ourselves the really real question, where is my life right now? In this lockdown situation that we find ourselves in, can I say that I know where my heart is with God? And maybe this is the perfect time, with all the distractions that are gone, to become real and say, Lord, maybe I'm not in a place where I can say my life is a reflection of you, and my life is a reflection of who you are, what you are compassionate about, what you care about. Maybe I've lost the ability to be your hands and your feet. And this song has really been speaking to me this year, convicted me in so many ways, because it asks us to say to the Lord, please, can you be my upper room? Can you make my whole life your upper room? And as we sing it now, I want to encourage you, take a moment, really surrender your heart before God and ask Him the right questions.
Help me, Holy Ghost. I need you more than anything. All my best ideas are yours. But what am I but what you make of me? So help me, God, breathe on my weakness, for all I want is to be like Jesus. And I don't have much, but all I have is yours to use. So make my whole life your upper room. Ooh. Help me, Holy Ghost. I need you more than I can say. Make your thoughts become my own, until the Father's will be done in me. So help me, God, breathe on my weakness, for all I want is to be like Jesus. And I don't have much, but what I have is yours to use. So make my whole life your upper room. Take my life, Lord. So help me, God, breathe on my weakness, for all I want is to be like Jesus. And help me, God, breathe on my weakness, for all I want is to be like Jesus. And I don't have much,
Amen.
That
Amen.
was
Thank
good.
you for that. And we hope that you've enjoyed that with us. Now, as usual, it's time for How to Church.
Yeah, baby, before we get to that, you want to hear a funny story?
Yes, I do want to hear a funny story.
I remember joining the church and they kept telling me, Brent, you need to start surfing. You need to start surfing and surfing. And I was so frustrated because look at me, I'm not a surfer.
And we live in Bloemfontein.
Yeah, and in Bloem.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to start surfing?
Yeah.
But isn't today's topic maybe about that?
It's about serving.
Surfing.
Yes.
Surfing.
Yeah. Common mistake, common error in the Bloemfontein churches. We're going to be speaking about serving, not surfing.
Especially
in
if you
How
say
to
it
Church.
with the accent. Surfing.
Okay, over to Aiden Lee.
When it comes to a Sunday church gathering, what kind of a churchgoer are you? Are you a player on the field or a spectator in the pew? Let's talk about that. Welcome to this week's episode of How to Church. I'm joined today by a familiar face, Zander. You probably know him already. Welcome, Zander.
Thank you very much.
And today we again want to give you some really practical advice that will actually help you stay connected to church and also grow in your faith. And today we're going to talk about something that is actually so integral to church, and that is serving. Now, before you turn off the TV, this is not a guilt trip to make you start doing things in church all of a sudden, but we just want to share some stories with you today about what serving in a local church has meant for us in our own journeys with God. So Zander, maybe just tell us a little bit about your own journey when it comes to just serving in a local church.
Yeah, so I think it's serving is something that I've heard about fairly early after I've got saved, and it was almost put out there frequently as the right thing to do. But I remember the moment that it actually made an impact in my life and became a reality it was shortly after I received an offer for my first job as a full-time member of a ministry team. I was given a youth ministry to lead, and I remember we moved to a new town, new church, and I was appointed as the youth pastor, and then I joined a serving team, and I joined the team that used to be responsible for setting up church, which was every Sunday morning at about 6:30. We had to be at the church, pack out chairs, set out tables, carry out sound, all of those kinds of things. And I remember the first day that I pitched up to start serving, I met the guys that I was in the serving team with, and one of them was a guy who had earned a few million already in his lifetime. We had a teacher on our team. We had a guy that was in grade 10 on our team. So it was almost people from all different walks of life that was serving in the team. And I remember it struck me in that moment how it was, all of a sudden it was evident that it was our faith that united us and brought us together, and serving in that sense almost leveled the playing field for all of us, where we could, as Paul writes, mutually be encouraged by one another's faith. So I think probably the biggest thing that it has done for me, number one, would be that it leveled the playing field and allowed us to connect with people who we would not necessarily be able to connect with otherwise. And I think the second thing that it really established in my life would be that it almost caused a sense of it's not about me. It brought me to a place where I had to get over myself and serve the body of Christ.
That's awesome. I mean, we posed this question at the start, like, what kind of churchgoer are you? Are you a player in the field, or are you a spectator in the pew? So if you had to differentiate between those two terms, how would you do that?
So I would say probably the one would be that I come to church to consume, to be blessed, to receive, to be invested into, whereas being a player on the field would be that I get my hands dirty, I get in the game, and through that discover my own gifts, but knowing that for the church, for the body of Christ to really be complete, I have to bring what God has deposited in me, or else the church misses out on what God wants to do through me.
I like what you're saying, especially, I mean, the church misses out if everyone is not actually getting their hands dirty, using and practicing those gifts that we have been giving. I think if I just consider my own life, I was saved at a fairly young age, became a part of a church, joined a community group, did all the kind of like right things. But if I think back to the times where almost the most significant kind of investment or discipleship kind of moments took place in my life, it was actually not during the sermon, if I can be honest. It was not during the praise and worship, but so many key conversations when it comes to my own faith actually took place as I was packing out chairs with other people, as I was, getting ready to serve coffee, or as I was, just greeting people outside the door. So many pivotal, crucial moments in my own journey with the Lord actually took place during those moments, and not during the preach. Not that the preaching is bad, preaching is awesome. So maybe just one last encouragement under what are some of the areas in our local church where people can actually get involved and start serving?
Yeah, I think there are many areas. As they've probably previously heard, we have worship teams, we have setup teams, we have crew, we have prayer teams. So I think the first step would just be to engage and connect with someone who is already serving, and they'll probably be the link and connection for you to start serving. But my encouragement would be just start doing it, and you will end up seeing the benefit and the growth in your own life resulting from that. So.
That's awesome. Maybe just one last thought from my side. We are in a time where we are still a little bit restricted in our movement when it comes to church. And I think we would just like to encourage anyone watching this is to actually ask the Lord and start praying about how you can actually serve your local church even when you aren't able to go to church on a Sunday. It doesn't necessarily have to happen on a Sunday, but there are so many other incredible initiatives in our city that's part of serving our church. So if you have a heart for the poor, if you want to help us, feed some hungry people in the city, if you want to, collect clothes and do all of that, those are all things that can happen outside of a Sunday, which is also a really great opportunity for you to stay connected to church and also grow in your faith. So Zander, thanks so much for joining me today. It was great having you here with us.
Thanks for having me.
So there you have it. You see, even I are now more convinced that I need to be surfing in church.
That's good, Brent. And we hope that you've enjoyed your time with us. And now it is my absolute pleasure to welcome
To me, the announcement guy.
Hey everyone, so I'm Timmy, your announcement guy, and I have one announcement for you, is that Street Store is back on track. So you can give financially or donate clothing in the description below. And if you want to help this ministry reach more people, feel free to give in our 3 ways: Zapper, EFT, and PayFast. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. And this has been me, Timmy, your announcement guy this week, saying to you, cheers.